Welcome everybody to our Invest GP committee. On this committee there is myself. If I can get my home screen opened up here, which is not working, so I won't tell you who the committee members are, my apologies. We'll just move right into the reports and we'll go to the service area update, please.
Right, thanks Chair Palat. I'll just start with talking about some exciting news. So Mr. Jeff Harrop, who's our new Chief Investment Officer, and he's advanced his start date, so he'll actually start with the city tomorrow in our session in Edmonton. And then this actually wraps up the major recruiting efforts at CLT, working with council, working with the new structure that was approved back in 2022. So all the new positions are filled, and so we have the senior leadership team is established. Now it's just the city manager recruitment. So very good news. Switching over to economic development, between December 5th and January 8th, there was 9 home-based businesses and 4 commercial businesses that received congratulatory emails from the city staff. With rural renewal, there was 146 employer applications that have been qualified, and the city has provided endorsement letters to 66 candidates across the food service and accommodation, retail, trades, and business sectors. There was 9 applications for the final intake of the Development Incentive and Grants Program, and that expired on December 30th. There was, of those 9 applications, 2 were residential infill, 2 were municipal fee rebates, and 5 business revitalization grants. And just a reminder, the Growing the North Conference is coming up on February 22nd and 23rd of 2023, and registration is now open. Switching over to investment attraction, InvestGP is preparing for the Innovation Commerce Serving Communities Conference, which is in late January in Whistler, BC. This is a commercial and retail conference with updated regional economic profiles and retail market analysis information. And then on events and entertainment, the Grand North Winter Festival ran this past weekend. It was spread over 3 locations in the downtown core. The Montrose Cultural Centre had an overwhelming positive response from families with DJ entertainment, the Aquaterra Ice Slide, a new addition, the Office Maze, Snow Maze, and Fletcher Mudrick Snow Art, along with the Green Path, Skating Oval, and Croquet Curl. Muskogee Park offered DJ entertainment, skating on the pond, horse and wagon rides, snowshoeing, Croquet Curl, and ACFA Maple Taffy as well. Over at the Bonnett's Energy Centre, they focused on elevated festival offerings, which included the ice gardens, showcasing live ice carvers, competitions, DJs and ACFA Maple Taffy on the H.A. Rice Plaza, along with the festival concert lineup in the Bows, which was headlined by 5440. And then we had, it was a total of 2,827 guests that visited the ice gardens at Bonnett's Energy Centre. There was 2,711 Storm fans that enjoyed the game over the weekend as well. And then Saturday had the highest attendance of the season for the hockey game. Switching to inspection services, they're anticipating a new national safety or national building code that'll be released in the spring, so they'll assess the impact of that as well. And then they're starting to see building permits coming in for the single-family dwellings in the new Kingsgate subdivision, which is in the northeast corner of the city. And then planning and development, on January 19th, city staff will be meeting with county planning staff and the consultants as well to resume the intermunicipal development plan review project. So, and that's my update, Mr. Chair, unless there's any questions.
All right, thank you for the reports. I'll look around the chambers to see if anybody has any questions. Councillor Burke.
Yeah, actually just more of a comment. I wasn't able to attend the Grand North Winter Festival on Friday or Saturday, but did attend Sunday. An outstanding event once again, the 2nd annual, and nothing but great vibes on verbally and through social media, which is quite rare for social media, but it was well received. So my compliments to all the city's admin for working and putting on an excellent show once again, and to all the families that attended. I could just see so many smiles and heard so much laughter that it was very heartwarming. So again, I just really want to compliment our team here at the city for putting on another winter festival that exceeded expectations.
All right, thanks for that, Councillor Berg. Councillor Bosch.
Thank you, Chair Palat. I'm just going to add to that, Councillor Berg, I'd like to give a big thank you to all the sponsors that assisted the city on this festival, because without them, we couldn't have done, such a good job that was done. So I concur with Councillor Berg, and just a little addition.
Thanks for that. And we've got a few members of council traveling right now, so I'll just ask if anybody in the vehicle there has any questions for Director Miller. Hearing none, we'll move on. And we'll go to our next item on our agenda, 3.2, our development permit, and I will look to Mr. Torben to introduce it, please.
Yeah, thank you through the chair. Administration has received development permit PL 22048 for a change of use, discretionary use to a minor commercial business center. The property is located at 10203 106 Avenue in the local commercial CL land use district. The applicant is proposing to put 3 uses in the commercial business center minor: a convenience store, a cannabis retail store, and a liquor store. The commercial business center minor and the cannabis retail store are both listed as discretionary uses in the CL district, where the development officer is the development authority. Convenience retail store is listed as a permitted use, and a liquor store is listed as a discretionary use, where the InvestGB committee is the development authority, which is kind of why we were initially here. The subject property is located in the corner of 102nd Street and 106th Avenue. You can see the figure in your report and on the screen, and the site is surrounded by residential developments to the north, east, south, west, with a K-12 private school further to the south. So Section 37A.5 of Land Use Bylaw C/1260 indicates that a retail store cannabis or a cannabis retail store shall not be located within 300 meters of a parcel or the boundary of a parcel of land containing a high school, or the boundary of a parcel of land designated as a future high school. The boundary of the proposed development is approximately 205 meters away from the boundary of the K-12 private school. The applicant has expressed that he is concerned that his business will not be viable without operating all 3 proposed uses from this location, and has no intention to operate 2. Therefore, he has applied for a variance of 31.7% to the 300-meter setback standard for a cannabis retail store. And you can see his application in the report. So this is the building. It's the site photo on the front looking south across 106th Avenue. The change of use to a minor commercial business center aligns with Council's strategic objective of innovative efficiency and economic readiness. There are no environmental or direct economic impacts associated with this development permit, and the social impact of the development would provide convenient retail options for residents in the neighborhood. A minor commercial business center, as indicated, is a discretionary use and is defined as any group of commercial establishments planned, constructed, and managed by a single or a group of owners or tenants, either in a mall-type setting or on a common site. It must have common and/or shared site accesses and shared parking for customer and staff, which this site does. Section 16.1 indicates when a development permit is not required, and 16.1J states an occupancy by a permitted use of vacant space in the existing or approved commercial center, including local, major, and minor or industrial. So approving a minor commercial business center at this location would allow future uses listed as permitted uses in the CL district the ability to operate from any vacant space in the building without the need of obtaining a development permit. However, Section 37A.7 states the development authority shall not grant a variance to setbacks from schools or provincial health facilities. which is why we're here. Administration has not identified any potential risk associated with the proposed development. So what we're proposing is offering the community alternatives. The InvestGP Committee, as the development authority, may approve development permit PL 220489 for the change of use, discretionary use to a minor commercial business center at 10203 106 Avenue to include a liquor store and convenience retail store, and refuse the operation of a cannabis retail store from this location, as per section 37A.7 of Land Use Bylaw C12. Option 2, approve development permit PL 220489 for the change of use, discretionary use to a minor commercial business center at 10203 106 Avenue to include a liquor store, convenience retail store, and a cannabis retail store with a 31.7% variance to the 300-meter setback requirement from a high school. Or postpone development permit PL 2248 and direct administration to report back with additional information. Administration is satisfied that the proposed use meets the intent of the definition and the proposed development meets all the requirement of Land Use Bylaw C1260 with parking, landscaping, etc. It does not meet 37A.5 regarding the required 300-meter distance between a cannabis retail store and a high school. Section 37A.7 of the Land Use Bylaw was approved by Council, and administration does not have the authority to overturn Council's direction and approve this variance. However, the InvestGP Committee, as the development authority, does have the ability and can grant the 31.7% variance to the 300-meter standard. If they are satisfied, there are no negative impacts. Typical stakeholder engagement. The Land Use Bylaw requires that we notify adjacent landowners, which we did. A total of 12 notices went out on October the 20th. As at this time during our review that initially we thought the school was an elementary school. We determined it was a K-12 school. There's 55 to 75 students in the school, but it's a high school. It's a K-12 high school. So we had to circulate once again with a variance. On the variance on November the 23rd, and concerning the proposed cannabis retail store variance. At the time of the writing of this report, we have not received any correspondence from adjacent property owners in response to either notification. Neither have we heard anything from internal departments or external agencies. There are no financial implications with respect to the development permit application. The change of use to a minor commercial business center at 10203 106 Avenue would provide the applicant the opportunity to offer convenience retail options for residents in the neighborhood. It would also allow for permitted uses listed in the local commercial CL district the opportunity to operate from any vacant space in the future without the need of a development permit. Proposed use meets the intent of the definition of a commercial business center and all the requirements of Land Use Bylaw C 1260. Administration recommends the InvestGP Committee approve the development permit PL 22049 the change of use, discretionary use to a minor commercial center at 10203 106 Avenue to include a liquor store, convenience retail store, and refuse the operation of a cannabis retail store from this location as per section 37A.7. And the authority of the development officer cannot breach that section. So we have no option but to refuse. Through the chair, that concludes the report from administration.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Tobin. Questions? I'll go to Councillor Berg and then Councillor Bosch.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Palat. So just a couple questions around the policy and the recommendations. This is prior to me being on council, so I'm hoping to get a little bit of education. The 300 meters, is that a provincial standard or is it somewhat arbitrary? I'm just kind of curious as to where that number comes from.
The provincial standard is 100 meters, but they also, AGLC indicated that each municipality could modify that for its use. So we have elementary school, K-8 school, K-9 school, the distance is 150 meters. So initially, we thought it was 150 schools to the north, or well over 200 meters. And so high school, because I would imagine back in the time it was a bit controversial, they thought it would be a better separation distance of 300 meters.
Okay, and then flagging a high school versus an elementary school. Again, I'm making an assumption. It's because some high school students may be 18 and may be able to walk over and purchase, where an elementary school or junior high couldn't. Is that a correct assumption?
That would be one of the, yes, that was one of the reasons.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for that, Mr. Berg. Ms. Bosch?
Thank you, Chair Paulette. Well, if they're 18, they can go wherever they want, essentially, right? So my question is, because like Councillor Berg, this is before my time here as well, the concerns with the cannabis stores versus liquor stores, are they not essentially the same concerns that we would have had with liquor stores solely?
Through the chair, from a development plan permitting perspective, we look at it as similar to a shoe store. It's a use. But there is no differentiation between a liquor store or the distance. Initially, they had thought that they would keep them separated, but through the process, it came out that, yeah, you are correct. There's no difference.
Okay. And so if a liquor store is okay, that just makes me question why the other one isn't. But what you said, at the time, there was concern just overall. If 12 notices have gone out and you've got 0 responses, including the school, that also is a flag for me. I can't vote on this committee. However, just a comment that if this does go further, that is a strong indicator of how they feel about this business.
Through the chair, yeah. Initially, there was a lot of concern, and as time has passed since 2018, people are more tolerant of the use.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Bosch. I'll just go to Mayor Clayton and Councillors O'Connor and Blackmore to see if they have any comments, please.
So my motion would be the motion as to amend. I'm just going to pull it up. The motion that's in the package identifies that this committee can approve this variance. So my motion would be to approve development permit PL 220489 for the change of use discretionary use to a commercial business center minor at 10203 106th Avenue to include a liquor store, a retail store, and a cannabis store in this location as per section without that last piece. So just cannabis store. Speaking to this, I know this variance is approximately 30%. As noted from colleagues Bosch and Berg, this policy 4 years ago, as discussed and debated through council, was sort of into uncharted territory. We've made one amendment since then, and I think that consideration needs to be given to discretionary uses when appropriate. This, seeing no adjacent land donor appears to and the use of a liquor store doesn't have the variances and the potential items identified for not scenario.
So Mayor Clayton, you're kind of cutting in and out. So from what we've heard, you wanted to make a motion that would include the use of liquor, convenience, and cannabis in this location?
Correct.
Okay, so option 2 in our package. Okay. Is there any other, I guess I know you're traveling down with a couple of their colleagues. Do they have any comments they want to make before we have any further questions on this?
No.
No, you guys are good?
They're telling me no.
Oh, okay. I guess for me, I'll jump in the queue here and say I'll support this motion. I think this is a good use. I was on council when we made the decisions of what we've done with cannabis. And I think at that point, like we mentioned in the room, I think we were one to err on the side of caution. And I think after 3 or 4 years of this now, I think we're starting to realize what the cannabis market is. And so I would be supportive of this motion. I do have a question for administration. By supporting this, do we need to make, or will there be a report coming back for amendments around our cannabis rules, or would this just be a one-off and we wouldn't need to worry about anything like that?
I think the director, Joe Johnson, will be looking at coming back with some changes. The applicant is here to speak on behalf of his application if you would want them to speak, but the fact is he's applying for another application and we'll be back again in very short order.
Yeah, no, I think I'm okay with them not speaking. Okay, fair enough. I was going to ask before, so. Okay, so I guess we'll have to just kind of put the motion on hold for now, and unless there's any other questions for Mr. Tobin, we'll look at having our delegates come up and speak, please. Okay, seeing no. Thanks for the report, Mr. Tobin. Oh, sorry. So this is to speak in favor of the application, and so we'll give it a round for folks that also want to speak in favor or opposed to this after you guys are done. Okay, so if you guys don't mind just introducing yourselves and kind of giving us an update on what you're looking at doing.
My name is Vikram Minhas. I'm looking at purchasing the property to redevelop in this manner, and I'll be owners and the operations of the 3 convenience stores in there.
And I'm Craig Ruther. I'm Vic's partner in the cannabis business.
Okay. So guys, I'm just curious on the drawings there. It looks like it's split into 3 stores, and would you guys be doing some renovations to this building, the exterior as well?
Yeah, similar to what we did at our east side location, we'd be doing an exterior reno and interior as well. So kind of bringing it up to more modern day standards and getting it cleaned up and whatnot. So.
Okay, so that. Any questions at all? Get Councillor Berg, and then we'll go Councillor Bosch.
Yeah, thanks, Chair Palat. So each bay will have its own staff. It won't be sharing and traveling back and forth?
No, so yeah, each bay will be staffed their own. So each operation is a separate entity, and then there won't be any shared staff amongst them.
Great, thanks.
Go ahead, Councillor Bosch.
Palat. I think that was kind of my question too. So I guess just a comment. I drive by that location every single day, and so many tries and fails at that location. So clearly a convenience store is not enough to keep them open. And I guess now that I thought of another question, are you close to any schools in any of your other locations or communities that there is a increased protection towards students that you wouldn't already do with a liquor store?
So our store on 100th Avenue in Grande Prairie is probably close to the same distance from an elementary school, though. So we don't have any other store that's this close to a high school in the city. But I don't think that that's been an issue at any of our other locations.
Well, selling cigarettes, is the same in regards to a convenience store. Never mind the alcohol and the cannabis. So I don't see a difference from one to another. They have to be 18 at all. So thank you for coming.
I guess for me, I'm happy to hear that you're looking at doing some renovations there, and you had mentioned, I think this property's been on MLS for quite a long time now, sitting there, so it's nice to see some kind of utilization for it. So I'm supportive of it. I'm just going to ask my colleagues that are traveling if they have any questions for the delegates.
No questions. Just waiting to call the question.
Okay. Thanks for that, Mayor Clayton. So I think you guys are off the hook. I think that's all the questions from us for this, and appreciate you coming in today.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
For that. I'll just ask if there's anybody to speak in opposition of this today. Anybody to speak in opposition today at all? No? Okay, seeing none, and no hands are popping up online. We'll move on then, and we'll go to business arising. So there was a motion on the table from Mayor Clayton. Any discussion or debate on the motion? Seeing or hearing none, I guess we'll just call that into question, please.
Mayor Clayton in favor.
Councillor O'Connor in favor.
Councillor Blackmore in favor.
Okay, thanks for that. And that carries unanimously. Thanks again. We'll move on to item 3.3, our telecom tower. And again, I believe you're queued up and ready to
Sorry, just to interrupt you, Chair Plot. If we lose you, I will call right back. My apologies.
Okay, thanks for the heads up on that. We're just moving into the next item, and I'll ask Mrs. Tennant to come up and speak about our tower or telecom.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will be presenting from this workstation.
Okay.
Okay. PL 220522 is a request for a letter of concurrence for a proposed telecommunication tower. Administration recommends this committee support the proposal for the reasons as noted within the report and on the PowerPoint that you can see. The proposed tower meets the requirements under Section 54 of the Land Use Bylaw C-1260 regarding radio communication towers. The proposed location of the tower can be seen on the map on the screen. This area is currently a stormwater pond, and the addition of the tower will not change this use or affect it. The proposed tower is a 25-meter high monopole design with flush-mounted external antenna, such as the one shown on the display. The letter of support from this committee would then be included with the application that the applicant submits to Innovation, Science and Economic Development Canada for approval. The federal agency will have the final decision regarding the approval of this tower. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thanks for that report. Any questions regarding the report? Councillor Berg?
Yeah, thank you, Chair Palat. Was there any letters of opposition when this went out?
Through the chair, there were only 3 letters required. They are required to send out letters to property owners within 3 times the height of the tower. And in this case, that only involved 3 people or 3 owners. There was no response to those, nor was there any response to the newspaper advertisement, which is now online. The Herald Tribune is now online.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? I'll just go again to our folks traveling to see if they have any questions. They popped off. Okay. So we will just go and I'll see if there's anybody to speak in favor of this or opposition of this right now. Yeah. Okay, so no, don't let anybody in the queue if there isn't. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, can I add one more comment on this? Okay, I did want to identify that this piece of property that the proposed tower is on is owned by the city, so that approval of this would result in lease money coming into the city.
Oh, okay, thanks for that as well. Have our other colleagues made it back on the call yet? Okay. So with that, I will just ask if there's anybody to speak in support of this application. See nobody in chambers. I'm not sure if we have anybody online. So I'll ask again, anybody speak in support of this? Seeing nobody, is there anybody to speak against this application? Nobody in chambers. I'll just ask if there's anybody online, nobody to speak opposed to it. All right, so with that, I'll look for business arising, please. Hopefully that we have connectivity with our colleagues that are traveling.
My apologies, Chairman. I just trying to unmute here. All right, I would move that the committee accept this report. No, I'm on the wrong one. My apologies. Just give us 1 second here. I would make the motion as presented in the package.
Okay, sounds good. So that's clear to all of us. So you want to make it exactly what's in the package, so that is in order. I'm assuming no conversation or debate on this, so we'll call that to question, please.
Mayor Clayton in favor. Councilor O'Connor in favor. Councilor Blackmore in favor.
Okay, and that carries unanimously. Thank you. From there, we move on to our investment attraction. I'll look for Mr. Sheldon to come up and present that, please.
I'll point out I won the vote, went to many rounds, but I won the vote to speak to you this morning on behalf of the ECDEV team. So I am representing today just to provide a quick update for information regarding our investment attraction efforts. So investment attraction, well, I'll speak about leads. And so those come from daily outreach activity from us in economic development. And that's outreach to real estate brokers, retailers, developers, investors, and that would include provincial and federal partners as well. And so there are also incoming calls from those partners that we handle on a daily basis. And also, as you know, some leads or calls initiate with mayor and council as well. So in the typical process for us, investment attraction leads that are filtered through the Invest GP team are typically followed up within a maximum of 48 hours, and then we nurture them as the situation demands and as leads become opportunities. So because the leads come from multiple sources, just to assist with the lead management component, over the past year, I'd say, Invest Grande Prairie has been transitioning to a customer relationship management tool, just to ensure all the leads and inquiries are followed and nurtured appropriately, and that Invest Grande Prairie, that the contact network is updated and accessible to the team. So I will admit we're not utilizing that tool to 100% of its capability yet. However, there's some further customization required, so that is actively being worked on. And soon, it will actually, the goal is for that to become the source of regular reporting to this committee and council. So we would do additional regular reporting and actually have concrete numbers, and the vision is a dashboard that would be a consistent means of reporting to committee on a regular basis. And activity, so at any given time, and I'm speaking of the whole team here, at any given time we're working on 10 to 12 very solid leads, we'd call them. So that's across industrial and commercial sectors. So leads are generally a mix of larger and smaller and longer term, shorter term. So we're consistently juggling 10 to 12 of those. New ones come in, some drop off. So we, as a team, manage all of those. And again, it's across industrial and commercial retail sectors. So currently on the industrial side, energy projects are the most prevalent in terms of calls, inquiries, and leads. So these are larger scale, long-term projects. They're fraught with some regulatory process, so ultimately those end up being a little bit longer term. And those are the ones that would typically require the support of the municipality as a key stakeholder. And often that will, they would look to support from council for potential funding sources, not necessarily coming to council for funding, but to support them in funding applications. And on the retail sector, Grande Prairie, I can assure you, remains a sought-after market. So these are shorter-term inquiries, very regular, and that's, I guess, where you see the most turnover of activity is on that retail sector. So if I did a top 10 list for you today, I would say the top 10 would be multiple private energy firms who we have regular contact with. And that's including solar, hydrogen, waste-to-energy plants, and geothermal, both on district heating and in power generation. We have several vertical farming operations that we're in regular contact with who have proposed projects. And then again, there's always food and accommodation sector inquiries coming in. So we continue to work with these, as I call sort of the top 10 leads at this point, but there are others, and we'll continue to nurture those relationships. And I'll close with an outlook, I guess, for all inquiries, industrial and commercial. Over the past 2 years, Invest Grande Prairie has significantly expanded our network and relationships with key stakeholders. So the investment in building relationships has proven very beneficial. It's had a compounding effect. So interest does remain strong in Grande Prairie, and as leads develop into concrete opportunities, we'll continue to provide this committee and council updates and potentially requests for endorsements as required. So I'll leave it there for any questions.
Okay, thanks for that. Looking around, I see we're going to go our standard, Councillor Berg, and then Councillor Block, please.
Okay. Thanks, Chair Palat. Thanks, Chad. So is the medical industry or field in your realm as well as far as recruitment and attraction?
So through the chair, in terms of medical and healthcare business, yes. Not necessarily in healthcare recruitment, but in terms of a coordinated health sector cluster, that is definitely in our portfolio, yes.
Great
and one we do actively work on.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Berg. Councillor Bosch, please.
Thank you, Chair Palat. You said that Grande Prairie remains to be a sought-after market. I'm just curious, is it because, particularly in retail, are we lacking so much in retail, or is there these companies seeing growth in our community? Which is it?
So through the chair, mostly the second. So it's a sought-after market because our trade area is now nearly 300,000 people. We are a higher income area and a lower housing and cost of living area. So they equate that to additional extra disposable income and a younger community, and that's kind of the top 5 on the checklist for retail.
Excellent. I'm happy to hear it's the second.
Okay. Thanks for that. I'll go to my colleagues that are driving again and just ask if they have any questions or comments for Mr. Sheldon.
We are good, thank you.
Okay, so I will just look for business arising, please.
Thanks, Chair Plot. Just make a motion to receive this report for information.
Thanks for that. That's in order. No discussion or debate, it doesn't sound like, so we will call that question. Thank you.
Mayor Clayton in favor.
Councillor O'Connor in favor.
Councillor Blackmore in favor.
And that passes unanimously. Thank you for that. So we have no correspondence, no other business. So we'll go down to our outside of item list, and I'll elect to Director Miller for that, please.
Thanks, Chair Platt, and no changes to the oil. Thanks.
Okay, thanks for that. I just do have a comment on that, and I appreciate things can take some time, but I'm just looking at, we're still months away from getting this back. I'm just wondering if there's any way that could come back a little quicker, or
just 1 second, please.
I guess I'd just like to have a clean slate on my outstanding item list, so I can make that quick.
I can, through the chair, I can certainly look into that, and I can provide an update in 2 weeks if that's okay.
That'd be great. Thank you. So I'll just be looking for somebody to make a motion, please.
I would make a motion to go in camera.
Sorry, I just need somebody to motion to accept the outstanding items list first, please.
My apologies. I'd make a motion to accept the outstanding items list as presented.
Thank you, Mayor Clayton. Questions called?
Mayor
Please.
Clayton in favor.
Councillor O'Connor in favor.
Councillor Blackmore in favor.
Thank you for that, and that carries. And then I would look for the next motion, please, Mayor Clayton.
Sure. The motion is to move in camera.
Thanks for that. We'll call that question, please.
Mayor,
That cut out on us. If you could, maybe if you did jump in.
Please.
Councillor,
sorry, Mayor Clayton in favor.
Councillor O'Connor in favor.
Councillor Blackmore in favor.
Okay. Thank you for that. So we will adjourn the meeting and we'll go in camera. adjourn the Invest and JP committee. I'll just take a couple minutes to reset here.